Didn't you see the Alex stream?
I was on the Alex stream.
So we're on now. I don't think anybody's here.
Didn't you see the Alex stream?
Oh yeah.
Hold on, I'll be there. Hang on.
All right. It's working because I just heard Susan talk on there.
Yeah, me too.
Because it gives you all kinds of feedback.
I don't even
So
know
I'm
what
not
the
gonna be there.
URL is.
I'm here.
You better post the URL, Dave. I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's twitch.tv/TheriaCon. And it's
okay.
right there. I may get a new one for this because CJ actually owns this Twitch, and to log in earlier, I had to get a code off of his cell phone. So it's kind of a mess. So I might make a different one for this.
No, that sounds really convenient.
Well, CJ was very responsive. Like as soon as the code went out, he's like, "Hey, do you need this?" Like, "Yep."
Oh.
So it's totally fine. But I don't know if anybody will show up in the Twitch chat or not. So
I think last time it was just Vathrak.
yeah, I think somebody else was there for a little while, but yeah.
I think I jumped in.
Oh, well, maybe you did. I spammed it in the TheriaCon channel, which has like 90 people. So, but
I put it on my Twitter too, but I didn't know who to tag. I was gonna, because there's TheriaCon, but I'm like, that's TheriaCon. I don't know.
yeah, there's TheriaCon, and there's also WeAreTheria, and I'm not logged into either one of those right now because I had to delete Twitter off of my phone because I've been in like an election coup black hole for the last month.
Oh yeah.
So
You see, Susan, Dave has ADD and he can't focus on any one thing for any length of time.
Yep. Mm-hmm,
So everything has multiple names and no real focus, no marketing brand. We get nothing.
well, yeah. So I guess as we're kicking this around here, we're like the TheriaCon name might change, and so we've been thinking about that as we move along here. Things keep going, so that's part of it. And then this was just going to be something different, so that's where the WeAreTheria thing came from. We kicked around, was it like WattCon or something like that? I don't know. We got some weird ideas, but we will see. So anyway, yeah.
I was just gonna say, I stole WeAreTheria I made a Secret Santa gift. I made a dice bag for Revend.
Yeah, well, I think we stole it. I saw that, and I think we stole it from Jason anyway. So
From Theriathon, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the WeAreTheria videos.
Yeah, for the Kickstarter, for the book Kickstarter, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, we have 4 people.
It's the circle of life. It's fine.
And I think they're all us. Yeah.
Hi us.
Well,
hey, awesome people.
If people drop in, that's great. Say, oh, see, there's Vathrak. We got one.
Hey.
And then I think we have like 20 people that listen to this on the podcast version later. So, we'll see. But maybe some other people drop by. So, yeah, I guess we should start. So, I'm Dave, Math Guy Dave, and we're here with this WeAreTheria chatty interview, not quite extended rest show that we're trying to do monthly. And this time we have Susan here. Hi, Susan. She's really not going to talk. That's what she told us. So
that was the last thing. Oh, well, this is the last thing I'm going to say.
I know Susan. That's not true.
So you just heard Steve, Steve the wiki guy.
Hey, people.
Dashix is here.
Hello.
And Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hey.
Yeah, so if you happen to be in the Twitch chat like Vathrak and you have a question along the way, just type it and we'll probably see it and we can ask it. But we were going to go through and talk about some different things. And I think the first thing is like questions, probably mostly if there's Arc 3 things hanging out there, but if somebody has some kind of like Arc 1 or 2 thing that they want to ask, that's great too, especially since I'm in the club of it should have just been Arc 2 and no Arc 3 anyway, so we can just jam those together. But
we're not going to beat that to death.
Okay.
And
We can
Are
start
we
with
sure?
Steve, I guess. So
Oh, don't start with me.
oh well that's
I don't come prepared with questions. I'm more like the color commentary
oh okay. Well,
and or snarky comments.
I guess if you have a question about arc 1, 2, or 3, you can go ahead.
But I don't.
well, I have an anecdote about Steve that
Okay.
every time. So was it last year or the year before? No, it was the year before. I was with James and Ryan, and we were at the meetup, and James turns to me, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's Steve," whatever. And then James turns to me, and he's like, "Wait, is that Steve? Steve the wiki guy?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can you introduce me to him?" Like he was more excited to meet you than you probably were to meet him.
Oh,
Cast members wanted me to introduce them to you.
well, there is the long-standing history. If anyone knows the Florida People delegation,
Yes.
where Susan and I met, it was 6 years ago, maybe
Long. Oh my god.
at the.
No, it had to have been 5 because I started in 2014.
Okay, I wasn't sure of the date. I looked up which episode you
86.
came in at, but I didn't remember like the date. But it's been a long time. It predates me going to Dragon Con. But yeah, James has been, Dagon was one of my favorite characters, which is why I had an issue with you last year at Dragon Con.
I don't know why.
Well, nothing at all happened.
I did nothing.
But yeah, I got to meet Susan and Val and Ryan at a gathering some years ago. So we've been chatty since.
Yeah.
But yeah, so meeting James and everyone else at Dragon Con was really cool for me too. It was mutual. And James and I get along pretty well. So
Okay, that's all I had.
Well, I updated this to say arc 1, 2, 3, and Dagon murder. So
Wow.
Ah.
Wow. Not
So-
even gonna
How
softball
rude.
it.
so how many
What?
how many characters has Susan knifed on screen between the various shows? Like I know there was at least one in Epically Short, and then is there only one on DNR? I feel like there's
No.
more. There's
No.
definitely
No.
more, right?
it
Oh,
was
Maddie too, right?
yes
Yeah.
in one of Dashik's favorite episodes,
Episode 6. Arc 2.
Arc 2, episode
Arc
6.
2, episode
Maddie
6.
stabs a dude.
I think I slit his throat.
That sounds right.
Oh, was it the slaver? Then yes. I think it was like a slow, painful slicing through the throat.
While looking him in the eyes and cursing his life.
And giving Masoka a thumbs up.
Yep. It was love at first sight.
You murder too? Cool.
Yeah.
So it's murder. It's a combination of murder and being merciful at the same time. It was very good.
My characters always take a turn. My husband once said to me, okay, here's the context. I was cuddling my dog and he was being really cute and it was going on an hour and I was like, man, I really have to go get up and use the restroom. And he said to me, and this still resonates in any situation, but it was really funny in that situation. He said, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. To stop cuddling my dog. But seems like that's true with all my characters too.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I
And we
think
never
all of
even
us
got
are,
a chance to see them.
and I think all of us are pet owners, so we all understand the okay, get off of me, I have to get up.
Yeah. But you're being really cute at the same time.
Okay, so maybe so I think when we were scheduling these, like arc 3 had just ended. So I guess I don't know if you can answer anything about this. We talked to Alex a little bit about like what he thought Braylon would be up to, and he's pretty much like Braylon's headed to the retirement home. Like he wouldn't adventure without Calden, and basically, as far as he's concerned, he's probably done. Although Jason probably has something to do with that too. So, um, what about Maddie? Do you think? Do you have ideas with that? Did you? I mean, I don't think you had an option to keep playing her, right? That was pretty much the ship had sailed.
James and I had discussed it, and we're both like, no. They like if you could encapsulate a perfect arc of a character and where to end it, that was perfect. But I have to discuss it with James, but I think we kind of talked about it on the show too. I think they both went to Brightport to go run the a Monitor's Light orphanage.
That could be
Makes sense.
interesting with like there's a group in Brightport full time, right? So
Yeah.
that you might get called up.
Yeah. I always wanted to do that, especially when the group group C went to Esterholt and Aerolove was there at the same time. Jason's like, I might have to hit you up. I don't know. We'll see. I really want to do a cameo on another group. That'd be cool with one of my old characters.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
I was definitely hoping to get, like it was talked about for a while, a follow up to that. Was it the Dragon Con thing? With
Oh yeah,
it's like, oh, we'll get back to that sometime, and it's 2 years later now, so I don't, I don't think we're gonna get back to that.
I think it's a little too late now.
But it was, it's like, oh, what's going on with that? And I don't know how much time has passed in like Theria time since then. Probably a couple months or something.
Yeah,
But
I think it's been like 2 or 3 months.
yeah, there
Because
was
we're in
some
Rangway now.
there's some time skipping at the end, so I don't know. And then you skip more time now, so I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
exactly.
traveling. Yeah.
Anybody else got anything from? I have some Arc 4 questions, but does anybody else have Arc 1, 2, 3 stuff?
Oh, I've got a Arc 2 transitioning into Arc 2/3 transitioning into 4 question. So so it's not too complicated though. So you're kind of famous for doing a lot of prep work and planning out things for your character and you actually using dice to make decisions on things for your character. And I was curious when Arc 2 started and you and Rob had your characters becoming or starting off as friends or at least traveling companions for a little while. What kind of things did you do to prep for that? I assume you and Rob had to talk about that at least to some extent, and obviously, if you have things that you don't want to talk about in terms of how the show works, that's great. But I'm just kind of curious about that.
Yes, Rob and I did talk about it beforehand. I think I mentioned this on the show before, but when the group was coming together, we were all talking on the basement, like throwing out character ideas. And I was like, I'll fill any role you guys need. And that always ends up being the cleric, the person, oh, we need the cleric, okay, I'll do it. And then James and Xavier were like, we'll be buddies. And then Kelsey, they laid out their backstory and it didn't really fit. And then I was like, hey, I don't know. It doesn't make sense for my character to be on this mission. I need a friend. Does anybody want to be my friend? And Rob's like, I'll be your friend. So then we decided that he decided that his character got attacked by bandits for being a half-orc or was beat up by someone, and Maddie nursed him back to health. And then from there, he decided that he had to protect her because she was naive, and she decided that she had to protect him because he couldn't speak the language and people were attacking him for just being him. And that's how that happened. And then it wasn't even planned at all, but Amvin, we were talking about our backstories, and then Amvin's from Aubrey and Maddie's from Aubrey. They're only like a year apart, and they both spend all their time in the library. We both separately decided these things. We're like, do you think we would have run into each other? Because it only makes sense if we did. So.
Yep. Oh, that makes sense. Yep. So how would that compare? And with arc 2-3 is over and done, and that's history. So no spoilers or whatever. But how would that compare to the preparation for arc 4? Because it seemed like Jason took a little bit of a different approach with arc 4 of setting up the groups and things.
Yeah, right before we started character creation for our group, we were actually lucky. We were the last group to create our characters. So as the groups were making characters, they announced the new races and that we could play them. And everyone else, all 3 other groups had already rolled their characters. And I was like, I want to be the new race. We're going to Kian? Fine, I'm going to be a Quar. So it didn't make sense for my character to have any relation with anybody else because she was going to be an emissary. So she just showed up there. And Jason, I'm not sure if he's ever going to release these. He made these really cool videos for all the groups, giving us like, here's your mission, and it's really cool. And he had Jane voice them. He should release them. And so he gave us these clues about what our group's going to do, and that was it. That was all the information we got. It was really cool. And so I took that and just ran with my new character.
Interesting.
I like that. So Jason really had planned out the 4 groups, and then so did you just decide what you were doing with your characters after seeing the video, or had you already sort of laid out what you wanted to do with characters and then saw the video?
It was after we saw the video. So we didn't know who our groups were going to be. He said, if you have any like input that you want, and Ryan, James, and I were like, we want to be in a group together, because ever since DragonCon 2 years ago, we all stayed in the same hotel room. We're like really close, the 3 of us. So we're like, we want to be in a group together. And then so we didn't even know who we were going to be in a group with. Then all of a sudden, one day, Jason just created the new groups. And in those pages on Facebook were the videos. He's like, this is your new group. So, yeah.
Yeah. So then you just decided what you were going to do for the individual characters. What had he sort of said that one person was going to be from the whatever the race is?
Quar. No,
Quar?
he didn't. He said we could do anything we want as long as it just makes sense why they want to go to Kian to investigate this noise.
Okay. Yeah, I sort of expected everybody from all the groups to want to be the new character, the new races. So I was really curious to see how that would shake out.
Surprised there's not whole groups of new races.
Pippins.
I know.
All Pippins.
Everybody wanted to be Pippin after it was announced, but like I said, the other 3 groups had already rolled their characters and they didn't know that we could play them. We didn't know. We knew that they're playable races, but we didn't know we were allowed to.
Yeah.
So, but after they announced it and the 3 other groups had already rolled theirs, I was like, so we could play these, right? And Jason's like, yeah. And everyone's like, shit, I already rolled my character. I'm like, ha ha ha.
Yeah. So
procrastination wins.
Yes.
I guess I have 2 arc 4 things about Yana.
Yes.
So first off, like, Quar was definitely the one of the new races that interested me the most, I think. But I kind of have a character that I'm trying to play in a similar way to, I think, how you're playing her, which is like a little, not emotionless, but like way less emotional than like Maddie, for example. So that feels like a pretty big adjustment for you on this show, at least, because Air Love was pretty out there too, I think. And
Yeah.
is that like fighting against your own, like who you are, or is it like how, I don't know, just a little bit about that maybe. She feels really different.
Yeah. Aralev and Maddie were very driven by emotion. And then Alna's, it's not fighting against my character because I'm not. Airlove and Maddie are very, okay, I'm going to say and do this and I'm going to do it right now. And I have to, like, there's so much passion in me. And then for me, I'm the kind of person who, I do have that passion, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I got to see both sides. And like, if I know 2 people are fighting, I'm not just going to go with the one person I'm closest with and like, I'm on your side, regardless if you're right or wrong. I'm usually like, okay, let's hear both sides. Are you sure? Maybe they're having a bad day, stuff like that. So with Alna, I'm really digging into that side of me, like the analytical. Like when I first played Aralev, you guys probably familiar. We all played like a SWAT team back then because we were all like, okay, this would be the best move, which would coincide with this move that you do, which would give us the biggest buff on our third turn, which would be this person, and they have this, so let's do this. And that's how I used to play. And I'd be like, okay, you want to go here. And I used to be very analytical and meta about how I used to play. So I'm kind of like driving into the skid with Alna.
It wasn't just you.
I know, but
It was the entire group.
I know. And I think we were also nervous. We just wanted to do the best. And our idea of best with D&D was, not dying. We didn't think about the show aspect until Arc 2.
Just
Well,
my
I think it's natural to want to try and win when you're starting out. So
Yeah.
you think that winning comes from defeating everything the fastest way and taking the the least amount of damage. It takes a certain amount of time to get to that point where you realize that winning is just the act of having a good character art. And you guys made that arc really start to shine. That the second and third arc, it seemed to be a lot more defined where the characters were going, what their motivations were, as
Mhm.
opposed to just kind of wandering around.
And let's hit the hardest and do the most damage.
well, I feel like you're winning anytime you're like frustrating Jason and making him complain about the rules. So, you guys win a lot in that regard.
Oh no.
Is that how you feel whenever I tell somebody their character's broken?
Yeah, that happens a lot. It's like that can't be the rules. I'm like, yep, that's the rules. The other thing that I liked just kind of early on is you're in a group with Ian. Ian, the like king of this is how my spell looks, like
Yeah.
this long spell description, and you started off with like some pretty good spell descriptions. So you're in kind of a spell description face off with Ian. So I'm going to be interested to follow that throughout the arc. You got to keep up.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. He inspired me to do that. So
Yeah.
because this is an audio medium. It's all we have is what you're hearing right now. So paint a picture with your words. Ugh, Ian's so good at it too. Man, I hate him, but I love him.
I think we mentioned that to Alex, that it was, I'm going to do an Ian. And I know you've said that specifically, and I think you're the one I'm remembering saying it. But I think others have too. And then they go off on this long description of whatever thing they're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pulling an Ian pretty much. But
Yes.
that is, that's everything that he does. It's not just DNR. Let's respect the crit. He does that with everything. It's just I think how he is. But yeah, it's a ongoing competition if you're going to try and keep up with that.
You
Yeah,
two
and I think
are...
that
Go ahead, Mark.
well, I think that that's something that that you and Ryan really started doing a lot with Epically Short was creating more of a story perspective and really getting into some of those descriptions. So I think it kind of followed you into Epically Short also.
Yeah.
And as like is it an audio RPG, that's part of the game.
Yeah.
Because I attack or I cast magic missile is kind of boring.
Right? It just okay, and it automatically hits too, and it's like, what does that look like for you? Does everybody's magic missile look the same? Is it just like a white light that hits you no matter what? Like boring.
So off topic of any of this, when did you start playing role-playing games?
Okay, role-playing games. I played video games since I was a kid. Me and my brother used to share the controller. We'd go back and forth. Final Fantasy probably was the first go I had at it. But tabletop RPGs, I actually didn't start until, I want to say, 5-6 months before I joined the show. I was really interested in it, and I started listening to the show because I wanted to start playing. I listened to the first episode. I was like, nah, I'm not going to listen to this one.
So did I.
Yeah. And then I went back to it and listened to episode 2, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll listen to episode. Oh, and I remember going, did I miss something? Because there was that missing audio at the end. I was like, I feel like I missed something. So I listened to episode 1 again, thinking I missed something. No. So that was 12 hours of my life.
I feel like you could have skipped to the end.
That they do not go together and they will never connect.
Well, I had to re-listen to the whole thing again because it was so long. I listened to it like at the beginning of the first month I wanted to start playing D&D, and then it was like 6 months later that I listened to it again. So yeah.
So we have a chat question since you're talking about other tabletop RPGs. Vathrak was wondering about favorite systems and genres. I guess it's okay if that's like D&D, but if there's something else that you really like.
Call of Cthulhu. Man, I love it. I love the insanity system. I love that. We were saying earlier that winning, quote unquote, is doing the most damage and all that, but I love that there is absolutely no winning in that game. If you're winning, you're going insane. Like, your character is going to end by going insane, and I love that. Like, the more you learn, the more you know about the world, the more comfortable you get with your abilities, you're going insane. It's so good.
I have not played that. Teo ran a game that the Sheiks was in at TheriaCon 2 years ago, right?
Yep.
I think you were going to finish that, but it never happened. If I remember.
Yeah, we never got back to that. It would be fun to do, but that was just a one shot. So I think getting to the point of going insane is harder in a one shot. But
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about somewhere before. Maybe this was on. I don't know. There's so many things that happen. Like you did those little behind the scene things on Epically Short, and you talked about stuff on there, and then you've done some chats with Jason. So I don't remember what was where, but I know that you DM some games or did. I don't know how the pandemic has messed with that or not.
Well, the book messed with that.
Okay.
That's what messed with me DMing. That's when I stopped. Because I had no life. I was running... Oh, shit. 3 games at once. And playing DNR. And doing Epically Short. And helping to write a book. And then one game at a time, I dropped them. I was like, I'm sorry, I just don't have time for our usual Friday night game. Oh, I'm sorry, I just don't have time for our usual Monday night game. So it was...
Because you were editing all the Epically Short episodes too after a while.
Yeah, after episode 4.
Oh.
That was episode...
That was pretty early.
Yeah. Yeah. I was editing them, and then I was working on the book. Oh, God, it was crazy. But it was a really good time. But there's a time where I didn't speak to anybody because I was just so busy. I remember my best friend texted me out of the blue. She's like, hey, I haven't heard from you in 2 months. I'm like, oh my God, I'm the worst friend ever. But it's just, I had no time. I definitely put too much on my plate.
So
out of all the different games that have kind of fallen to the wayside, that DNR listeners may know about, which one is the one that you missed the most out of those side games that you were involved in?
In the ones I ran, or?
No, I think
in the ones that
like a Strahd or a Last Bastion.
Last Bastion. God damn, that was fun.
I think that was the question.
The vampire's so good too.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is the vampire, the Last Bastion. There was so many different things that have kind of popped up, and then either on their way or just kind of dropped off. Obviously, the book had a whole lot to do with it.
Yeah, and then
But I
there
was just
was
curious, which one of those you missed the most?
it's a tie between Bastion and Vampire. And I know those were the two ones I was on at the same time, but they both had their draws. It was so good. Like they're both ridiculous and silly, but great. And the group was a good dynamic and just
Yeah.
And I would love to know what happened with Vampire because they exist in February 2020. So what are they up to?
They caused the pandemic.
Yeah. Maybe.
Can they go out without a mask?
Right? And oh my god, they went to Vegas because there's all those people there so they could have basically a buffet, but Vegas shuts down. So oh,
That would
Oh,
be interesting.
maybe preemptively killing vampire was a good idea.
yeah.
Huh. Yeah, the pandemic is an interesting twist on that. I hadn't thought about that. I didn't realize the game had stopped before then. I guess it did.
Yeah, because it was our last episode was before the Super Bowl. Because I remember razzing Handsome Jeff about it.
Wow, time has been weird this year.
Yes, it has.
The Last Bastion was probably my favorite of those shows, but it was just because it was silly and like you guys got to do a lot of world building, which I really like.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of something I like. Arc 1 is hard to listen to at times, and it's really good at other times, but I kind of like that Theria was a little squishy at the time, and like you
Yeah.
can see where people were helping invent it, and now maybe that's going to come back with the new continents because they may not be as well defined as Alara is. So hopefully there'll be a little bit more of that like player world building stuff in this arc.
Well,
But
if we learned
we'll see.
anything from Arc 4 already, it's that polar bears are no joke.
Oh my god. I thought it was going to be a TPK. I really did. Or I thought it was just going to be Corvus alive. And I was like, that would be so traumatizing for poor baby Corvus.
You could hear Jason trying to get out of that. Like it's like
Yeah.
first or second episode with that group. Let's not kill them all.
He gave it to us. He really did. Like throwing rations. Okay,
Yeah.
they got easy pickings here. He gave it to us. And you know what? I'm not mad at him.
No, I'm not saying it was a bad choice or a wrong choice, but yeah, maybe pare down the number of bears. I don't know.
Well,
it was what it was. You don't know how rolls are gonna go, and I think all of us also DM games, so we know how dice rolls go.
Yeah. That's
And
why I
no
use a screen because I
no
don't
judgment.
like. Yeah, I usually use a screen for that purpose, unless I'm doing. I have a 10,000 choice random table that I love to use, and that one I let them roll, and I love it.
Were your most of your games in person?
Yes.
Assuming
Yeah.
because you're using a screen.
Well, I would use the DM screen, or I would have the laptop. That's what I eventually did, and I had two laptops back to back. So I would use Roll20, and they could move their. They would have a mouse and a keyboard, and then they could move their characters on there. So I could have the whole DM screen and their screen, but in person.
So you played a virtual virtual tabletop in person.
Yeah.
That's good.
I really want either a projector or one of those tables that are just like a giant tablet.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know they make those so you can play on a 42-inch TV that is essentially your battle maps and the DM controls it all.
I know. I'd love it.
yeah, we did play at home for a little while. Fantasy Grounds like projected on my daughter's big whiteboard. So they could go up and like point where they wanted to move and stuff, and I would do it all for them. But it's a little obnoxious teaching them how to use all the like Fantasy Grounds is not super intuitive with all the click here
Yeah.
and click there and do this effect and do that effect, and So
Yeah.
it's easier to do it myself.
Yeah, I found the screen much better. Used to draw my grids or draw my maps and all that, but it just with snacks on the table and drinks on the table and dice and towers and all that, it was just they'd have to move everything out of the way so I could put a map down. And then I tried Theater of the Mind, but then I play with a bunch of ADD people, so they just couldn't get it.
So we
So-
touched a little bit on Epically Short. I know Mark definitely listened. I'm not sure everybody here listened to all of Epically Short.
I listened to some, but not all.
Yeah. I think Mark made it through all of them. I don't think
Yep.
I finished. Lisa was on at the very end, right? I don't think I
yes,
finished.
she was.
I don't think I
Yeah.
finished that one.
Mark used to hang out with me every month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I was one of the super fans.
I never made
Yeah.
it to that. I did the games that Ryan ran, the Dungeon World games that he did. I did a couple of those, but I never made it to the Patreon chat thing. Those things are kind of always at weird times for me when we're having like dinner or something. So, did
Well,
you
it
have?
goes back to not having a life. As long as you don't have a life, it's fine.
Yeah. High five, Mark.
Yeah, no life.
So, out of those little stories, I think like the first one is the most memorable for me. Just it was super dark and kind of gross and crummy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was going through a dark phase. No. No, Ryan's the one who wrote it. Oh my god, that was horrible.
The one thing I did like about it, and I was going to say, and it wasn't the story, but that's not true. I really enjoyed the first episode or two that were like the world building part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
I
looking
love that
forward to
we
that
did that.
again. That's what I was
Me
waiting for was
too.
the next world building. So I don't know.
It-
Any chances of epically short return at any point?
Not at this time. Both Ryan and I are helping with the next book. So
Oh.
yeah, so we talked about it. We had a talk about it, and we both discussed it. And we're like, well, we'll just focus on DNR right now and growing that, and because the book, I underestimated how much of my time it took up. So it was really, I would be editing. I could edit an episode in a day, but then I'd work 10-hour days, go home, copy edit, then dedicate all of Saturday to editing an episode of Epically Short. So I really had no life.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, no, not right now. It might come back in the future, but it wouldn't be for another year or so.
Yeah. Like just throwing out things. Like you could do it like a live play thing. Then there's no editing. See the amazing.
Yeah.
That's why I don't edit anything ever. So
Well,
So now, with how well you guys all work together in Epically Short, were you guys already playing games before that? The three of you, Tony and you and Ryan, were you guys already playing games before you did Epically Short?
no, we were not. Ryan and I hung out a few times, and Tony I met before we started recording, but no, we didn't play any games. I think that was Tony's first foray into D&D. They had a game that they started at the same time at work, but yeah.
interesting. Okay, anybody else got role playing related questions before we move off of here? I'm gonna check the chat, see if there's anything in there. Bethrak really likes DRP because of Jake. It would. I was wondering if Jake was gonna like make it back on the main cast since there was an odd number when you divide it into 4 groups.
Yeah.
Um,
He's in the cast chat on Facebook. He's still in the basement. I just think maybe his schedule doesn't allow him for a monthly commitment.
yeah,
But he's definitely still a friend of the show.
Yeah, maybe
It's always great when he shows up for something.
Yeah.
like
And I
the-
know he was going to come to Dragon Con this year.
Oh man.
like the wrestling thing was really funny. I don't know if you listened to that or not.
I didn't listen to it though, but
Okay. It was really
I did
funny.
listen from episode 1, so I'm familiar with him. And we
Yeah.
were on DRP together.
Yeah. Okay, and then he was saying something about map tools. Huh. Okay. Yeah, so I guess we may be about done with that stuff. So my only questions were involving like I know you did some running events and stuff before, and I'm guessing although you live in Florida, so maybe not everything is canceled. You can probably go on a big group run in Florida. But
Yes, you can. And I get emails for them all the time. And I'm like, you guys are idiots.
Masks optional. Get in a big group. It'll be great.
Stand right next to
No,
someone.
it made some changes because I actually went out to when I didn't run in it, but
Oh, okay.
we were the recipient of the funds for one, and there's no pre-run. A lot of them, because the nonprofit that I work for, we actually do a 5K every year, and what they've said is that if it's not closed down, it's rolling start. So there's no get together, everybody get in a shoot and rub elbows. Rolling start to take off. There's no hanging around. There's no table set up. So if we're doing goodie bags, it's you grab your bag and you leave, and they're not giving away medals afterwards. You go to wherever you're picking up your packets, and that's where you get your goodies afterwards. Everyone has to have a mask except while they're running.
Yeah, because
So-
I got a mask specifically for running, and it was hell. Well, I got it during the summer, so summer in Florida is the worst idea ever.
It's almost been comfortable the past week.
Yeah.
yeah,
I read. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I set a goal for myself this month. I saw an ad online. I could have paid $50 to do this, but I was like, I could just do it myself and not pay money. So it's run 50K by the new year. So I'm running 50K this month. Not all at one time, but it boils down to a mile a day, so it's not even that bad.
yeah, I was so this year was all of my events got canceled. So and it was mostly biking for me. That's what I had on the agenda. And they were all canceled. I was going to do this thing called Gravel Worlds in Nebraska, but
Ooh.
that disappeared. And another
Yeah.
ride in Wisconsin I was going to do. And then I decided I was going to train for another 50-mile run in April. And then my knee disagreed with me about a month ago. So
Oh my god.
I'm back to biking.
Yeah, my knee. Okay, so my knee actually started acting up last Thursday, so I haven't been able to run. But it's okay. I only have to make up 3 miles if just to catch up to where I should be. But I'm just waiting for it to get better. If not, I might start counting biking miles. I wasn't counting those before, but
Yeah.
I really want to get this 50K.
Yeah. So right, like where I'm little goals like that are super helpful to me. So like over the summer I did my two little things were June I did an average of a 5K run and 20 miles of biking every day. That was my June
Oh,
goal.
wow.
Yeah, I have summers off, right? So and then July was 1,000 bike miles. So those were my two big months this year. And then I really kicked up running training, and then all of a sudden I got hamstring tendinopathy, and then I think trying to run through that, I hurt my other knee, and
Oh
so
no.
now it's just all bad. So I just bike again.
Now, I do an event called Walk to the Fridge now and then. You guys are killing me.
Yeah. Keep it up.
Hey now, Steve, you got that little peddler?
Yeah, it won't get me to the fridge though.
Hey, the weather's nice right now. Well, not today because it's the tropical storm, but the weather's nice this month. It's been amazing. Average of 60. Get outside. Just not near people. Don't go near people.
I ride through a community that has a nice little trail part of the time, and I usually wear a mask through there because there's a number of people out on the trail, either walking or jogging or riding their bikes or walking their dogs or whatever. But that's one nice thing about just getting out on the bike and on open roads. You can go out there and you don't think about it because you're not running into people. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually moved close to the coast, the west coast of Florida, and I didn't realize how close I was until I went biking, and I was able to bike to the coast. It's only 10 miles. And I love that. I love where I live now because I can do that. And it gives you a very good goal. Like I get to see pretty Gulf water if I just ride that way. So
Well, you can come up to North Carolina in next year.
yeah.
And,
and see hills.
Do the 100-mile ride with Dave and I.
It's like Florida, but you go up and you go down.
Oh, and that's really hard. It really is.
Yeah, I haven't. Oh, go ahead.
The Sheiks was getting on my case because I posted I took like an 8-mile walk and I posted it and he's like, yeah, you could tell you're in Florida because there was like 0 feet of elevation the entire time.
Yeah.
So that's what
significantly less than I get going like 100 yards from my house.
Yeah, it'd probably kill me. I'm so conditioned as like flat.
Yeah, everybody thinks that Iowa is flat, and for the most part it is, but not the little corner that I live in. So we live in this weird thing called the driftless region, and it is super hilly in Dubuque and like Wisconsin, right around here. There's a couple of bike rides in southern Wisconsin that are some of the like hardest bike rides that happen every year. There's this thing called the Horribly Hilly Hundreds, um, that is pretty ridiculous, and there's another one. Um, so yeah, it's not any big mountains or anything. It's just a lot of like I can't leave my house without a really pretty decent climb to get back up. So
Feel like you just got done doing like 1,000 squats when you get home.
it definitely makes you a better like cyclist living here because
Yeah.
you have to build up. It's embarrassing to walk up the hill. So,
Yep.
of course you could be Dave and turn that pedal assist on and then it's not a
That's
problem,
right. That's right. I have the cheater bike. But when I first moved to
Oh.
the house where I'm at now, on my old bike, I went out. I hadn't been riding very much because I've been really busy, and I went for a long ride. I came back, and coming up the hill to my house, I was like absolutely dying. I think I nearly had a heart attack by the time I got to the top. It wasn't good.
Yeah, I brought my friend here who actually got me into cycling, and she lives like an hour south of here, and there are no hills south of here. So she like regularly did like 60 and 100-mile bike rides, and I brought her up here to ride, and she's like walking every hill and all this stuff. I'm like, you need to get some hill work in.
Yeah.
It's a little
I
different.
would be. Yeah, that's why you're like, you should come up here and be fine. I'd be like, guys. I'm not used to incline. I have to practice on a treadmill before going up there.
Doesn't help as much as you'd think.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, because it's just a different air pressure, too.
Yeah, I think the Florida humidity would kill me. So
Oh,
I
God.
tried running like we were at Disney World for like 10 days a few years ago, and I tried running there, and it's like a mile outside, and I'm just dripping sweat everywhere. So
It completely changes my time. Like, I've been running this last month. It's been like 60 degrees is the average, 60 to 70. So it's amazing for running. And then you compare my times to running during the summer, and my miles are probably 30 seconds. Like, it takes me 30 seconds to a minute more to run that mile. Like, it's crazy how much of a difference that heat takes. Just running in 75-degree weather really slows me down.
yeah, no, that's totally true. I hate running in the summer, so
Oh my God.
I usually try to plan training for March or April runs so I can run in the winter. So
Yeah, or I'll run super early or after the sunset. And even then, it's still too hot.
But then you get the extra, cardio from slapping all the mosquitoes.
Yes. And just fear for your life because, running by yourself in the dark. Maybe a car will hit you or maybe you'll get mugged. You don't know.
Alligators everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially with the COVID vaccine, which might turn you into an alligator if you listen to the president of Brazil. So
Oh,
you
yes.
got to watch out.
A highly credible
I
president
must have
of
missed
Brazil.
that.
Yeah, so I guess you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but my only other thought was like how like this has been a crazy year of 2020. How much other than like obviously Dragon Con was canceled. I don't know how big a part of your life that is, but it's a thing that you missed. Is
Yes.
there anything like how else has this affected you? Is like things really screwed up, or pretty much the same, just minus a few social things, or um, like how much
Social
is
life's pretty much the same for me.
yeah?
I mean, I have friends, but we've always, online and stuff. So I didn't need to meet in person. I was buying a house. We decided to start in February, and then we were still searching in March. We had put an offer on a few houses, and they fell through. And then we were still searching in March, and then everything shut down. So we had to put searching for a house on hold. So that was a big thing. I started working from home, which was never an option with my job because my boss is old school and he's a micromanager and he wants to be able to see everything you're doing. And I took up the offer as soon as it was said. Like we were all standing on the floor because it's a small office, and they're like, "Okay, we know that this is a concern, or COVID's concerning. Does anybody want to work from home? You have that option." I raised my hand so fast. So I've been working from home and I love that because, like I said, my boss is a micromanager. So now I just don't have that negativity in my life. And then there's been few personal. It's been a kind of a sad year at the same time too. There's been some sad things. Like I had a friend pass away and I wasn't able to see him in the hospital beforehand because of COVID.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. But I did get my house. Like I said, I moved closer to the coast, and that was awesome. And I love working from home. Overall, COVID hasn't really affected me, and that's good. I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky for that, and I still have a job and everything.
Yeah, I think like for me, other than like my kid super doesn't like it because she can't see her friends and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like if it was just me or just me and my wife, life would be totally fine because I now don't commute 3 hours a day. I teach on
Yes.
Zoom, which is super nice. And other than that, I didn't really see many people anyway. And so life didn't change a whole lot for me, but it's definitely really hard on the kids. So that's been the downside of the year for us.
Yeah, I'm very lucky for the lifestyle I chose for the child-free lifestyle, or else this would have been a completely different year for me.
It's kind of an okay time to have an infant, but they don't really see people anyway. My friend
Yeah,
had a baby, so
an infant or or a puppy or a kitten,
yeah,
you can be there all the time for them.
yeah. I think our dogs are gonna be in shock when we have to go places again.
Oh my gosh, yeah. My dog already gets separation anxiety. This is gonna drive him crazy.
I've read a couple of stories about that. People, saying make sure you plan ahead for your pets because they are so used to having people around, and then that's going to change at some point. And,
Yeah.
you have to adjust.
Yeah.
Like my dogs at some point are like, "Can't you just go to work? Just go away. Let me sleep."
Well,
Yeah, my
Mark,
husband.
yeah.
I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say my husband and I have already discussed it. One of us will always have to work remote. Luckily, he was already doing it before this, but from now on, one of us will always have to be home, or else our dogs will have a heart attack.
I've worked at home for 20 years, 22 years or something like that. So it's old hat for me. But yeah, my dog wouldn't know what to do. He's so used to having people around all the time. He'd definitely go crazy.
For the most part, I can't work from home because I would get nothing done because of the dogs. There are things I can do remotely, and I do have office stuff to do, but for the most part, I drive and go to work. So when I'm here, they're all so needy.
So many needs.
That's why they're in all of our game recordings.
They are. well, the one less, but they all still bark in my face every time. It's just a smaller, more shrill bark.
Okay, does anybody have anything else for Susan? I think we're kind of wrapping up.
Rapping? What?
I see dope rhymes is on the list.
Yeah, I guess that was my joke. Wrapping up. We're kind of wrapping up.
Yeah, I don't think the idea was that you would actually have to rap. But...
Yeah, you totally don't.
Nope, got this.
Okay,
I'm ready.
So we should tell that.
I got it printed out on paper and everything.
Someone drop a beat.
I was gonna say I'll be quiet and let Dave and you guys talk about this and the history of it if anybody doesn't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only thing I was going to say was the turnaround speed on that whole thing from Dashik saying, "Here's some lyrics," to the recording popping up on the Discord was like 15 or 20 minutes.
It wasn't that quick.
It was, and it was super impressive.
I feel like they went up one night and then the recording was there the next morning or something. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I would. So, David or Dave? Do you go by David or Dave?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you posted a Valis rap, and I was like, oh, and a Malchus one. I was like, what the shit? Where's my Aerolove rap?
Yeah. No, that was serious pressure. The funny thing, the Malchus thing was just like a total joke, right? I was just being silly saying Malchus wouldn't be able to rap, so I just put this thing together that was like a non-rap, right? But then when you said where's the one for Aerolove, then I was like, oh no, now I have to actually come up with something. I think I was going to a movie or something, so I had to, when I got back from the movie, I had to get serious and put it together. So
you had to put everything to the side to write this.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
I demanded it.
It was right. No, that was exactly right. It was big pressure. So
I feel like if you had hit Rob up, he might have actually tried to do it.
Well, you know, I never listened to the Inspectors things, so I guess he did some kind of rap thing in in Inspector's game, and somebody said it was really good. So.
Yeah.
He had a Vietnam War vet who actually wasn't a Vietnam War vet, who was he would, that was his thing, he would bust into song, and he always had some, a line or two, and it was pretty good. This is one of my favorite episodes of Inspectors.
Yeah.
Mine too. Well,
you had music with this, right? I don't know. Never mind.
There was. I don't know where it is.
Okay.
We could just attach that to the end of the recording if you want.
No, let's not do that one because I do the weird chorus and
No, that was good. It's pretty funny because when I put the thing together, I had a sense of what I wanted to, what I thought it would sound like. So then when you actually recorded that, which I totally didn't expect, when you actually recorded that was funny just to hear the differences of the way you envisioned it sounding versus the way I thought of it as I was writing it. So,
well, I was trying to find a beat that worked. You had to find one that hit all the, and I jerry rigged that one to fit. It wasn't exactly right, but because I wanted to get like just a beat, and it was at that time before I was editing audio. I didn't know where to look for that, so I kind of like ripped that from a YouTube video. And
oh yeah,
yeah. So, but now I know where to get all your audio needs. I would suggest Artlist.io, or YouTube has a royalty-free section.
Okay,
it was still pretty good for thrown together in 15 minutes.
It wasn't.
So if you missed the previous recording, we have Untitled Air Love Rap. I think it's untitled, right? I feel like
One
it is.
here. Yeah.
I think it was just the Arrow Love rap, right? I mean, that's
Yeah, well, that's how I saved it. But
Yeah, that's how I have it too. Okay, let's see if I can do this on demand or if I'm gonna screw it up. I was practicing beforehand. Okay. When you're from Brideport and your pops disappears, a broken family can be the source of your fears. With two brothers that both lost their way, it didn't matter how to get out and play. Join the watch, not knowing what to expect. What a mistake. What a total freaking wreck. And so you know I had to find something new, which is fine. That's what I went out to do. Her name is Era Love. She don't care what you say. She know you think about her every night and day. Her name is Era Love. She don't care what you do. But watch yourself or she'll make a fool out of you. When you got two brothers and there ain't no others, you can't hide under the covers. If you had your druthers, you had to take some lovers, but that ain't the circumstance. When things look grim and the ice is thin and you got red skin and you see sharks fin, see I've messed it up. But you want to win, you got to take a chance. Met a crew, they were down on their luck, looking for a way to make a quick buck. What do? They make friends with a drake. Riding that thing felt like riding a quake. Found a boat, can't get enough of that. Met a witch, that was some crazy scat. Went to an island, met a dude who smoked grass. Gated north and nearly froze her ass. Her name is Era Love. She don't care what you say. She know you think about her every night and day. Her name is Era Love. She don't care what you do, but watch yourself or she may up and drop kick you. Number one, son kills for profit and fun. Number two, son kills and goes on the run. For the daughter, what are the odds? She'd be the one to help free the gods. Now back in Brideport, I draw a line in the sand because I don't like dealing with that bitch, the black hand. She like to do things make people jump on their call, but I be telling her she about to be taking a big fall. You could walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Did I say that right? Okay. You could walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and I don't care if you're high from smoking 2 hits of meth. You could talk about me, you could hate on my song, but you best know this, don't fuck with my mom. Her name is Era Love. Wait, did I? Yeah. Her name is Era Love. She don't care what you say. She know you think about it every night and day. Her name is Era Love. She don't care what you do. Better watch yourself or she'll do away with you. Ha
Nice.
Okay.
So I absolutely didn't expect you to.
I messed up twice, but I got through it.
That was a
To
lot.
do that on the show.
whoever's the next person, beat that.
Yeah.
Yeah, rap on demand. What's up? Although someone else wrote it, and I've done it before.
But I guess
So now do you?
He can make fun of you for it, but you not only did you do an edited version with music and everything else, you just did it live. So
Yeah,
whatever for him.
yeah. What's up?
We'll have to interview Ian. He likes to do the rap thing too. So
Yeah.
Well, we could get Jason and try to have him do the Valor rap. I'm pretty sure he said no already, though.
I think he said something about one of the things that he and Valis had in common was that they definitely did not rap. So
So rapping, no dancing.
Well, if we get Rob to do it, then he has to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rob might be more
'Cause-
doable.
Yeah, I think Rob would do it. You might have to get him to record it though, and then because he likes to be prepared.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess the last thing, so we're here on the TheriaCon channel, and part of the reason that we're doing this is just to kind of keep the TheriaCon like name out there and keep people's minds on it and stuff. And actually, probably maybe the next time that we're here, we'll have the website for the 2021 TheriaCon. We can start earning money or getting money as soon as January for next year, I think. I don't know when Brian will set that up. But that's kind of why we're here. And we raised a ridiculous amount of money last year, which you were a part of the finale game.
Yeah, I saved $50. I saved up all my donations for that night to get rolls.
Yeah, I think that last game, I know Vathrak was there, and Vathrak, who's in the chat, donated a whole bunch on that last game too. But I think I think we raised, I don't even know the amount on just the final game, but it was a lot, especially if you consider the bids to play in the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was. It's definitely over 1,000. How much was it? It was a lot.
Yeah.
I threw down $50 myself, and I know Ryan threw down $50.
I think Xavier did at least that much too. So, and then it got kind of ridiculous with like so many rerolls. Like we'll reroll this 14 times.
Yeah, I think I re-rolled something 4 times, and by the third one, I was like, okay, just one more. I still got rolls to use, but I'm just one more, I guess.
Yeah, it was fun, and I got a fun.
6,000. Sorry. Wow.
Yeah, no, we did. The total was over 6,000, but I think just from the finale game was over 1,000, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So, but yeah, our total was like $6,500 or something, which is kind of ridiculous.
That was totally crazy because I don't think any of us expect us to be able to match the first year's total, which was like 3,500 or something like that. So,
yeah, it's pretty crazy. So
it was amazing.
So we'll be back again. I don't know. That format worked pretty well for a finale. I think that's a fun thing. So I don't know. If
Are you gonna make people rap from now on?
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. But I got the fun memory of killing. Who were you? You were playing Air Love, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got the fun memory of knocking Air Love out. So that happened in that game. So that was fun.
Yeah. And then you and I were just back and forth. Hey, I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna try and like murder you. You seem pretty nice. Sorry.
It was a ridiculous situation. I liked when we were trying to like figure out the logic of why we were doing what we're doing, and Ian's just like, "This is the way it is because I said so." And
Yeah, when it all like fell apart at the end.
it was logically didn't make sense, but that's okay. It was fine.
It was fun.
One more random question.
Yeah.
And this is kind of behind the scenes. You were supposed to play in one of the Kickstarter games as Arlov, right?
I did. Yes.
How did that go?
Oh, it was awesome. We won. We beat the Black Hand. We stopped the ritual. And they got to see the show, like the final showdown between Lauren and Airlove. They threw words back and forth, and it was weird playing Airlove again. She has so much anger.
I don't think I had heard anything. I didn't know if you had played yet or how it went, because I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I played with Trig and
Rob.
Yeah, because Rob invited me.
Yeah, damn him.
Yeah, we invited Bree into our game to take on Darmok.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and who is someone? Dave Tesfallen. Dave. He played an archer, and he was like on the other side of Brightport. Basically, we didn't see him the entire time. We're like, "Are you even here?" Oh, we played with Jinxie. It was fun.
Oh, yeah. She's
it was that game. Okay.
Yeah. Amanda is in a bunch of our games, and is probably would have been here tonight, except I forgot to ask her. So.
Well, it was originally supposed to be Friday, and she's not available on Fridays.
Right. Yeah. So that was why. But yeah, we kind of could use a woman on the show. So like trying to get her on here, but didn't happen for this time.
So Susan, since you don't have much of a life, as you've told us, maybe you'd like to be our female voice for doing the rest of these.
Well, we'll see about that. Like I said, there's book. I always underestimate how much time it takes. Although we aren't going to start it again until beginning of next year. We took holidays off, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's like a week and a half.
I know. But we took off all this month.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that process is like a little smoother since you've gone through it one time, and book will maybe be like half the size. Maybe?
Yes, it will. Yeah.
They're-
Yes.
Yeah. The hard part about that, I think, unless Jason's like sitting on a bunch of them, there's not going to be like hundreds of NPCs on Talor.
No. And the problem with the first book was we had never done it before, which seems like such an obvious thing, but we didn't understand how much time to dedicate to each step of the process.
Yeah.
Man, Alara is the one with the most history and the most people and the most
Yeah.
defined on the show already. I really think they could do, like 2 continents per book going forward, because they're not as big, they're not as populated. There's like 1 city per continent,
Yeah.
and it still wouldn't be nearly as big of a book.
No, it wouldn't.
There's multiple cities on Atheus for sure. So
Yeah. Rookwood and the other one. And then Talor has a few.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
they
not
have
like the 20 on Alara.
No.
But yeah, I guess there'll be a little bit of a challenge of like they're probably going to be inventing NPCs on that group as the book is going along. So it's going to be, we got to cram this guy in here we just had on episode 19 or whatever. So
Yes.
because they're writing the
like,
history.
Yeah, and then while we were writing the books, cast or PCs died, and we're like, should we mark them as dead? When's the cutoff? And then Odysseia turned back time while we were writing the book, and we're like, should we include that? And then it's like, yeah.
Yeah, so that's just going to keep happening.
I kind of had the same problem with the wiki. I'm like, I have no idea how to retcon any of this and rewrite it so that it makes sense.
Yeah.
Let alone a book that will be printed and is just stable.
It's already outdated.
Yeah.
It's already.
It did. So it was confusing, and I think Jason admitted this. Like, it was confusing how he explained the new races coming in, because I definitely understood it as like, oh, they're back and they've always been here. And then that's not how it is.
They're back. They think they've always been here.
Right. But everybody else knows that they're not.
No, everybody
correct?
thinks.
Oh, everybody thinks they have been. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you ask anyone, they've always been there.
But
if you start digging, everyone's like, huh. Like if you ask for details.
They never did anything. Like they weren't involved in any events or anything.
Yeah.
It's like Star Wars where they just add in a Force ghost here and there on the rewrites.
Yeah.
See, look, there they were in the background the whole time.
the metachlorians or whatever that was.
All right. Well, I think we may have reached the end of what we have here. So thanks a lot for dropping by, Susan. It was fun.
Thanks for having me.
So thanks for rescheduling multiple times too. That was that was tricky to get this thing pulled together.
As Mark and I have discussed, no life. It's fine.
All right. Well, I'm going to close down the stream. Thanks, Bathrack. And I saw Ryan in here for a little while. I'm the 7th. I don't know if anybody else was around, but those two were for a while. So thanks. And the podcast version of this will be up probably sometime tonight or tomorrow, depending on whether I go to bed or not. So
Bathrack says almost $1,200 for the last game from the TheriaCon. So
yeah.
Crazy.
All right. Thanks, everybody.